Welcome to Freelance Client Secrets Module 3, Bidding Templates and Tips. Congratulations on making it this far. We're really getting into the details of things now. And in this video, I'm going to talk about crafting your bid. In this video, I'll be talking about types of project listings, templates that I use, what to include, payment terms, and other important tips. So first, I'm going to talk about types of project listings, and by this, I'm referring to how people post projects on Elance and other sites. The first type of project listing is the short project listing, where the client doesn't post a lot of information, maybe just one or two generic sentences. Usually, I avoid wasting my time bidding on jobs without enough information, but I usually look at the client history first to see if they have a history of actually hiring people. So far, I found that if the client doesn't put much time into writing the project description, then they are less likely to be serious about hiring someone. Some project listings are vague or unclear, and I tend to avoid these as well because it is hard to estimate costs and also to know what the client wants. If there are just a few things that are unclear, then I'll ask questions when I bid. Some projects have a lot of details posted. For these listings, I will try to skim through them quickly so that I don't spend too much time overanalyzing a project that I might not even get a response from. So now I'm going to talk about two main templates that I use. The job bidding template is what I use to bid on jobs on Elance and other freelancing sites. This is your first message to your potential client. It includes an intro sentence, benefits of hiring us in a bulleted list, and a link to our portfolio. There are also other sections that I can copy and paste into the template as needed. For example, if the job is requesting a logo design, then I have a link to my logo portfolio that I can paste in. The client info sheet is a sheet that asks all the info that I will need to get started. I started with a simple sheet and added stuff to it as time went on. The purpose of the sheet is to clarify scope of work, clearly define milestones, get website access info if needed, get any logins that will be needed, and specify who pays for extras like stock photos and website plugins and things like that. Now I'm going to talk about what to include in your bid. First, include a short intro on who you are and what you do. One sentence should be enough for the intro. Keep it short. Another thing you want to do is list any assumptions that you have regarding the project. I can say something like, I assume you don't need a logo designed or a mobile responsive website, and then I can place my bid. You can also ask questions if the client left out certain details in the job description. Asking questions also lets the client know that you read the description. Be sure to answer any questions that the client asks in your project description. You would be surprised at how many people fail to do this. Include a price estimate and time estimate if required. If you are not sure of the price due to lack of information in the job description, then remember you can usually change the amount later after discussions with the client have started. Sometimes it is a good idea to include payment terms, although I usually wait until later to discuss this with the client. My payment terms are, all milestones need to be funded into escrow before work begins on each phase, and for projects that I do outside of freelancing sites, I usually require upfront payment for each milestone. Some freelancers will work first and get paid later, but I think that's risky. I always link to relevant work examples or my general portfolio. Instead of sending attachments, it is better to send one link where all your work is located. Downloading attachments and clicking on multiple sites can become annoying for the client if they get a lot of applicants. If you do include direct links, then limit it to your 5 best examples and say something like more examples available on request. Now I'm going to talk about payment terms. Usually I don't worry about or even mention payment terms when I first bid on a project. Until a client shows some level of interest, it's not worth worrying about. You can state terms if you want to screen out clients and save time. For example, if you need some upfront payment before you will start working, then you should make the client aware of that early on before you spend a lot of time discussing the project with them. I recommend using the escrow system for sites like Elance and upfront payment for milestones if escrow is not available. For smaller projects like writing a few articles, then it might be okay to accept payment afterwards because it is only taking a few hours. So the risk is small. When setting payment terms, it's all about controlling cash flow and risks. So for bigger projects, definitely do milestones, and for smaller projects, it's up to you. Here are a few important tips. Number 1, keep the proposal short. Remember that clients will have to read through a lot of proposals sometimes, and they won't want to read long, boring proposals, so try to keep it short and get to the point quickly with your communication. Eliminate any fluff sentences that don't need to be there. Put yourself in the client's shoes and ask yourself honestly if this statement is something that would increase my desire to want to hire this person, or if it's just a fluff statement. Usually, if it doesn't provide factual information, then it's fluff. Provide 3 to 5 examples maximum. Avoid too many examples or a huge list of links because clients won't have time to look at them all. Just include your best stuff. Having all your work samples in one place, like your own website, can be helpful. That way you can just send the client one link and they can look through everything from one place. Personalize your response as much as possible. Ask questions, answer client questions, and include the person's name in the greeting if they mention it. Provide relevant examples only instead of a huge list of unrelated stuff, and also provide a link to your general portfolio if they want to see more. Follow the client's instructions if provided. Sometimes the client will ask people to reply with a certain phrase like Orange 246 or something like that just to make sure you read the job description. Next, always try to place a bid if you can instead of leaving the amount blank, because some clients will decline bids that are submitted without an amount. If the project description is unclear, then state your assumptions and place a bid if possible. Sometimes there is so little information that it is not possible to bid, and in those cases, I will submit a bid without an amount and only on jobs that I am invited to bid on for free. If it doesn't cost much, don't be afraid to bid on the project to start a dialogue. If it does cost more to bid, then bid more selectively. Bidding on Elance isn't super expensive, but if you're not careful, you can still burn through some money if you bid on too many vague or irrelevant projects. And finally, check your portfolio regularly to make sure all the links still work if you are linking to examples on other people's websites. I've had people send links to websites and writing samples that weren't there anymore, so you want to make sure that any links you send to the client are working. So that's the end of Module 3, Video 1, and in the next video, I go into more bidding tips.